National Youth Parliament held a press conference ahead of its parliamentary election to discuss matters related to the upcoming election as a moment of truth and reflection, as youth are agents of change in our society. According to the clerk Abdullah Oba, National Youth Parliament is an institution that fosters youth leadership and participation in the matters of national development, as young people must have an unprecedented capacity and role in the development of the country.
National Youth Parliament is an organization that is established with its constitutions, standing orders, and bylaws. So we operate using the guiding principles that are provided for by these documents. And by virtue of our documents, the National Youth Parliamentarians are qualified to become members of the NYP. One, if they are youth. And the definition of youth in the Gambia is a person between the ages of 15 to 35. Two, these young people must not be affiliated openly to political parties. The idea behind that is to ensure that the National Youth Parliament is not a cake that will be shared by politicians. Because today, if young people are partisan in their constituency, they will fail to represent the interests of divergent young people within their constituency. And then political parties will look at these young people as cakes that they can just share within and among themselves. And this is why the National Youth Parliament is non-partisan, is purely for young people. You must also belong to an organized group. Young people of the Gambia constitute for over 60% of the population. And therefore, it is impossible for our interests to be represented if we are not organized. That is why the National Youth Parliament is banging behind making sure that young people belong to structures that are organized, structures that are recognized, so that their representation become easier.
The chairman of National Youth Parliament, Babukar Nyang, in his opening remarks says the National Youth Parliament election is a moment of reflection and affirmation of youth leadership and participation that builds a society where young people can fully participate to have a say in the affairs of the national matters.
It's not simply a routine update. It is a moment of reflection and affirmation of our collective commitment to democratic youth leadership, transparency, innovation, and accountability. The National Youth Parliament election represents more than just a periodic exercise to review leadership. It symbolizes the boundless creativity, vigor, and transformative potential of Gambian youth. They reflect our shared aspiration to build a society where young people are not only participants, but architects of governance, advocacy, and progress. The electoral journey we have embarked on is historic, unprecedented, and true learning curve, and that will define our democratic culture for the generations to come. Let me now take you through to its journey in its entirety, stage by stage, highlighting not only the successes we have registered, but also the challenges we have faced and lessons we continue to grow.
Mr. Nen gives statistics on 176 nomination papers all across the country as a symbol of leadership and resilience of the Gambian youth. Among 176 nomination papers, 149 are fully filled by candidates where forms are verified by the standards and the constitution of the National Youth Parliament.
Issuance of nomination form. The National Youth Parliament issued a total number of 176 nomination forms to aspiring candidates from across the country, representing all 7 administrative regions. The forms were not just pieces of papers, they were symbols of opportunity, hope, and belief in leadership. The response was overwhelming, reflecting the eagerness of Gambian youth to lead and serve. Submission and vetting of nomination forms. Out of the 176 forms issued, 149 were filled and duly submitted by the candidates. Our vetting team undertook a rigorous and principled review process, guided strictly by the NYP Constitution, its standing orders, and bylaws. Every submitted form underwent a detailed scrutiny process to verify the validity of information, compliance with eligibility criteria, and adherence to nomination protocols. On the 149 forms submitted, 146 candidates were duly qualified and accepted to contest, while 3 candidates were disqualified for the following reasons. 1. One of the candidates was found to have submitted an identification document that did not belong to him or her, impersonating an other individual bearing the same name. This constitutes a grave breach of ethics and was dealt with decisively. 2 other candidates were disqualified for failing to submit nomination letters and for fabricating key details including phone numbers, which undermines the trust and credibility required for public leadership.
For Dynamic Gambia News, this is Omar Tra reporting.